Welcome to the Dope and Tape Show, everybody. We're live on all the platforms. Thank you so much for joining us. Last week was a little crazy. Bobby didn't have good enough Wi-Fi where he was, so we were not able to bring you a quality show.
Boom.
So we had to kind of push everything to this week. So we didn't quit. We didn't get tired of doing this.
We're
We
back.
didn't slow down. We just had technical difficulties, and there's nothing that's going to stop Dope and Tape Show ever. Today we have Matt Bass. We're excited to have him on. He's had I would say, a pretty successful career so far in the fire protection industry. It's definitely a little bit different than me and Bobby's, but we're excited to hear his story and also kind of share another pathway that you can go in fire protection. Thank you for joining us, Matt.
Yeah, thank you guys. I'm glad to be here. I mean, anytime we can talk sprinkler and fire protection, I'll do it.
Absolutely. Hey, Bobby, I wore that shirt today. It was my after sauna shirt.
Is it comfy?
Yeah.
It's like it's so comfy.
I think I need to get an extra large next time.
Yeah, sick boy.
Yeah.
You're growing. You're just growing up right in front of us. I can put my Snapdrill hat on. I'm gonna wear my I want to wear my Dope and Tape hat.
Snapdrill's coming out with a new device. I was told today. I actually talked to Ferguson today on the phone, and they're coming out with something new. And Ferguson is they're going to release it.
Exclusive?
So, I believe so.
Oh, we love some exclusive. Oh, Matt knows about it too?
A little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit. A little bit.
I seen him shaking his head. So we are live on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Whether you're watching us live, you're watching us replay. We got 593 subscribers. If you haven't yet, please hit the subscription button. Hit the like button while you're here. I know a lot of people don't subscribe because they don't have an account. Just put your email on there. Make a YouTube account so you can hit the subscription button. Thank you so much. Chandler, what up?
YouTube
Tommy.
More than I do TV.
Like Justin, Florencio, Logo. Eric, I see you guys. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, geez. They've been here since the beginning.
Everybody's here. We're back.
I've known Logo since before the show when we were on another show.
Oh, yeah.
So I was trying to get my people on because I told them, I said, you can come on here and roast me because most of them know I do quite a bit of roasting. So I said, come on, bring it.
Bring it, yeah.
Well, don't hold back the roasting. We love it.
Yeah,
we love it.
I do love it.
Sometimes Bobby gets his feelings hurt, but for the most part,
I don't.
For the most part, we get it back.
Oh, shit. I have a good time.
You gotta have something to do what we do. If you don't, I mean.
Oh, for sure.
Exactly.
And if you're not getting picked on, they don't like you. Like that's the sign.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm sure I'm like most of you guys. Most of my friends I've been doing sprinklers since I was 19, and most of them are the same thing. And they'll come up to you and tell you it's something wrong if you haven't said something stupid to them or called them something or did something.
Is everything all right?
Are you mad at me? And it's like, and people on the outside look in and they see us calling each other, stupid names, doing pranks and stuff. And it's, they don't understand. It's like, that's normal. That's just normal.
Paste.
Yeah. Me and Bobby at the show, we look like a very angry couple. Like we are going at each other.
You frustrate me a little bit because you're just slow.
Until
it's a little bit slower. It's a little bit slower speed down in the south. I understand.
Just from Georgia, baby.
I have to adjust. I have to adjust a little bit. And then when I'm going through Georgia and I'm grabbing gas, the people just don't sound like you. You sound like you just snuck into Georgia and you claim like you came from there.
Yeah, my accent is out of nowhere.
What? Yeah, what is it? Where'd it come from?
I don't know, but what's crazy is no one sounds like me, but my youngest kind of talks like me.
You sound like no one.
Noah?
No, you sound like no one.
No. There is someone. So I walked into a store one time.
There is someone.
Yeah, I walked into a store one time and I was talking and a guy was like, he was just pointing at me. And I was like, what? Ray Romano. I was like, what are you talking about? It's like, you sound like Ray Romano, like the
That is true. You got to get some
the mammoth off of Ice Age. I was like, what?
Ray Romano lines.
But I mean, I've been boxing and fighting.
Blowout Bobby.
Young age,
you guys would love it.
My nose is all messed up.
If it happens, I'll post
it.
You know, right there. I'll post it.
Broken.
What's up, John?
So
Matt
It's
is
funny
an
you guys talk about that
inspiration.
with the accents because I was actually just having my wife was talking about this, and when I first moved to North Carolina,
Oh,
we were still using Nextels, and some of the guys had such a hard twang on the Nextel. You know, it was like, "Hey, this is Ronnie," and I was
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
like, "It's like,
What?
Yep, man,
you
I
know,
love the Nextels. I miss those days.
Man, I couldn't keep it on loud because my cousin, you just never knew when he was gonna slip in and say something. And he will hold the button
That's
and keep it going and you can't
that's
stop
the
it.
friend I was.
Yeah, you can't
that was
stop it. You just like,
that was the key. As soon as you heard the beep beep and they said, "Where you at?" I would
You're
always
like
say,
you're trying to cover
I'm at
it.
the doctor's office. I'm at the doctor's office, or I'm at church or something. Because you knew right after that, if you said I was at home or with your girlfriend or something, you knew something was coming back across that speaker.
Oh
oh
yeah.
man, my cousin, he wouldn't even wait for that. He'll just start yelling. He'll just like beep beep, and once it beep beep, and he knew he got me. Oh, he would go off. He's like, "You said that you were gonna be over here in like 5 minutes. You said you love me, but you don't even text me back."
You got to send the brand new apprentice into into Dunkies to get coffees, and when he's waiting in line, you just start moaning into the Nextel.
Yep,
I miss the Nextels. I miss them.
So I don't
those were
know what
good.
They just
happened
made
for
people so
Facebook.
vulnerable.
Facebook for a little bit wasn't working, but we're back, and I shared us to this sprinkler group, and they let me share in there. So if you're watching
Really.
from Facebook, thank you.
It
We got
seems like they complain
some
about
people on
absolutely
Twitch,
everything.
almost 20 people in here. All right, so Matt, let's hit it from like the beginning. Like, what got you into the trade or the
But
trades,
you said
or
19.
yeah,
That's
what'd you
early.
do after high school? You went right into the trades?
Basically, I'm part like like most of you all. I knew someone who was doing it, and I was working at a place called Service Merchandise, and I hated working the weekends where you had to work like 12 to 9. And I wanted to work Monday through Friday, but it was specific. I wanted to work Monday through Friday, not an office job. And so, a buddy of mine was doing fire protection. He said, try it out. And of course, I was a total nerd. I went to a green helper interview with a dang resume, a resume with service merchandise, Burger King, and Dairy Queen on my resume. And I remember the guy, his name was Bob Beckwith. He looked right at me and was like, he asked me 4 questions. He's like, can you show up on time? Do you have reliable transportation? Can you lift more than 50 pounds? And do you have any tools? And that's what got me started, and I think like a lot of people, I actually got lucky. I had some really good sprinkler foremen that I worked with that pushed me really hard. And I did sprinkler install for probably about 8 years. Got into it was a small company at first. So we did install during the day and then we do service at night. And I was one of those young guys that, was hungry for the money. So I was the yes guy. I did all the service calls and it was just outside of the DC area. So we had old systems, old dry valves, and it's the best way to learn is when you're 2 o'clock in the morning working on some old star drive valve or
You
some
have
old,
no choice but to figure it out.
yeah, no choice. And of course sometimes I call my friends who knew more than I did. I remember one time Rick Burzak, if you're on, I'm going to kick your ass for this because 4 of them were all having a good time and I was doing a service call and I'm like crying, I'm almost crying, I'm like, come help me, and they're all laughing in the background like, have a good time, rookie. It's like, it was crazy.
That's
But
awesome.
just people you work with, but got into service and and so
Conveyor down you go.
Wow.
What are you saying
So
there, Tommy? The
did you
chat's
start as
popping
an
off.
apprentice?
what was that?
So you started as an apprentice, and then how long did it take you to start doing service calls on your own?
Probably just 2 years. I had one of those foremans that said, I got 2 ladders. I don't need someone at the bottom of the ladder looking at me wanting to cut rod. He said, I got 2 ladders. You're gonna hang pipe. I was hanging pipe, I think the third or second day. It was really fast. And typical sprinkler guy, foreman, he had the long ponytail, raspy voice, long goatee, dark tinted glasses, smoked marbles, one after the
Oh
other.
yeah.
I mean, just your typical sprinkler dude. And everybody was afraid of him. But once you got to know him, his name was Richard Sales. He was the best person because he really, if he knew that you had initiative and drive, he taught me everything. So I was way ahead of anybody else
That's
just
awesome.
because, I didn't give up. Now he also knew me. So, he would pick on me and he'd say, we would look at something like we were working like a church and we had to go up to the steeple to pipe it up. And he knew, he said, oh, I guess your fat ass ain't gonna get up in there. and he knew that would just spark me. And I get up in there, I was like, no, fat squishes, I'll get up in there. So, but real old school sprinkler dude, but he taught me everything really quickly. I was running work real fast, and he was the first dude that ever told me we were doing some old dry valves. He said, they weren't setting up right. He said, go down to 7-Eleven and give me a couple bags of ice. And I'm like, Richard, what is ice going to do for this dry valve? I mean, we don't have any beer or any soda or anything. What is ice going to do? He said, just go down and get the bags of ice and come back here. And we started jamming that ice into the dry valve. Old school stuff like that. Great guy. I loved him.
I've tried that before.
That's awesome. The old ice trick. Hold it down. Put some water in there with it.
I'm the type of guy that even if the dry valve is just completely done, like I will still stay there and try to get it set up, and I will try and try and try and try.
Fill the fill cup.
Yeah.
Put a little extra. Put a little extra in the fill cup.
Little extra, little bump.
Little extra.
Yeah. After service install, I got into inspections, and that's pretty much been my bread and butter. That's where I've been. Either doing inspections, still doing service here and there, because I always loved having my tools with me. I always carried my wrenches with me, and my foreman Richard was so old school. He would only let me carry steel 24s, and I had two 24s and an 18. He didn't like aluminum, and I remember when we would go, because we used to do large install jobs, and whenever we go help the tenant guys, I'm sitting there putting a 1-inch O2 nipple 90 with a 24 steel, and they're like, "What are you doing?" So
damn, bro has some strong elbow muscles.
Jeez,
Yeah,
what's your Super 14 with the cheater?
Yeah, that's crazy.
back in the
like
day,
probably a quarter of the weight.
Back in the day, just using steel 24s all the time. I mean, I was never as heavy as I am now, because it was like a workout.
Oh, for sure.
And then he also used Permatex. He didn't like any white dope. We used Permatex on everything.
Oh, so none of that stuff's ever coming apart.
Ever.
So you're just Permatex with a 24, bury it. Just bury it, kids.
Bury it.
Send it home. They're taking this out with the bandsaw.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny.
Gallon of hot water for priming. Oh, it makes the rubber pliable. Come on back, Tommy.
Okay.
Let's go.
A little knowledge there. Okay.
Popeye. Yep, 14 with the conduit cheater is the best wrench.
Absolutely.
That's how I roll. I still use steel 24s.
That's how I did it.
D. I have steel.
You got to upgrade, bro.
The only steel wrench in the van is a 48. I got a 48 hidden behind one of the. I got a 48 hidden behind one of my shelves. That big girl comes out, I'm pissed.
It's either breaking or coming off.
I put a piece of 4-inch on that thing one time. It's like a 10.6, I know, a 7'0", 4-inch. Just put it right over and use it. Now you got 7 more feet on that thing. You can make that wrench as long as you want.
Yep.
Jeez.
Super 10 with the cheater. I'm gonna have to try that
Super
one.
10?
Flow.
So Matt, how long were you in as an apprentice, and then how long were you doing service?
Oh, my bad, sister.
And running a van until you got into inspections.
Damn, you slinging them heavy things.
About 8 years doing install.
Okay.
8 years doing install, and then I got into ITM, which was like I said, my bread and butter. I got into NICET really heavy. Have all my level 3 water base, level 3 fire alarm, level 2 special hazards, and I even have the level 2 ITM fire alarm.
Jeez.
Went and got my CFPS from NFPA, the Certified Fire Protection Specialist, and just a lot of experience. And I always tell people, that's probably one of the things, like, you guys do a lot on, YouTube. I'm big on, LinkedIn and Facebook. And, I'm always pushing people, like, if you can broaden your horizons, learn as much as you can from everybody, and get as much, certifications as you can, it will usually always help you out. And I said, because I remember back in the day, people would say, most of us were sprinkler, and they said, why'd you go into fire alarm? And I'd say, do you have NICET fire alarm? And they said, nope. And I'm like, that's exactly why I'm doing it, because to me, it's not a competition against you, it's a competition for myself personally. I just wanted to challenge myself. But I said, if we're both going to for a job interview, I said I can almost guarantee you my resume is going to probably at least get me to the interview table, just because they're going to see the experience I have, my background, and I added in, the night set and other things where they can see that, I'm pretty well-rounded individual that can maybe help them out, And so if I can do the sprinkler and the fire alarm versus the person who can only do the sprinkler, I might have a few more opportunities. So I'm really big on pushing people to just challenge yourself and try to get out there and learn as much as you can, whether it's backflow certification, fire extinguishers, fire pump class, something. Do it, and you'll make yourself better in the end. So
Well said. Bravo to you. That's a lot. You're
I
doing good,
definitely
man.
agree. That's
That's
yeah, and
incredible. That's
that is
extremely
incredible.
impressive.
Dang,
and
he's
even
killing it with the NICET. That's awesome. That's from Justin Harrison.
yeah, because actually, Brian, I used to live down in Atlanta, in Decatur, and while I
Whoa.
was there, I decided to actually go back to college, and I did it online, and I kind of did it secretly because I didn't want anybody to know, because I really wanted to do it for myself. I didn't want anybody to be like, "Let me help you out," and I wanted to. And so all my friends were like, "Why don't you want to hang out?" And it was because I was going after work, doing inspections, and I was actually a service manager. I was doing, online school, I did that for 2 years, but I got my business administration degree too, because I really wanted to make the next step to go from the field maybe into the office. And so I said, I'll have the experience, I'll have the night set, I'll have the CFPS, but I'm also going to have a business degree, so I can at least maybe know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about margins and profit and loss statements and that kind of stuff. And and after I passed it, people were shocked. They're like, "You did that? That's what you were doing all that time?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I mean, it was tough, working all day, sweating your ass off to go home and do, papers and do, night classes, online. It was no joke, but I sacrificed 2 years to do it, and it was
That's
worth it.
incredible.
That's hard work pays off.
No, that's awesome. I mean, I love hearing that. And I want everybody to be like that. And I'm looking for some options myself too. And even me being in the office for so long, without a degree like that, like the business degree, like I had to learn all that from just looking it up, reading about it. Okay, what do I do? How do I do it? And
Yeah.
and then doing it and making mistakes while I do it. And then I learned. Like you know, that's how I had to learn for sure.
What's
But
up,
now,
Amy?
like, but there's a big difference from my way to get instructional, what is this? What is this? What is this? Big
Justin
difference.
Garman says he likes hearing the old stories. His grandpa started in '68. His father started in '89. Uncle's in the '80s. His whole family does sprinkler work. Let's go, Justin. Love to
Nice.
see it.
Wow.
Love to hear it.
So
Yo, what up,
Thanksgiving is a
Don?
lot like my house, it sounds like. We just sit around
Our
and talk about
company,
sprinkler.
Tommy says our company pays for NICET, pays you to test, and then gives you a raise if you get it. There's still people who don't. It shocks me. Wow, that's awesome. Hey, what do you know about Chris Logan, Matt?
Oh yeah, quite a bit. Yeah, he and I. That's one of the things. Going to NFPA. I got to meet so many people that I've known for like years online.
It's so
And
cool,
for
isn't it?
the first time. So I met Chris, and even because I'm really big in the Facebook groups. And I do a lot of helping people. To push them to the next level. And I met so many people that said, "Look, you do all the chatting. So I'm real big at talking in the groups, and sometimes putting too much sarcasm and on there a little bit, but they said you do all the talking and we just sit back and laugh. And
Yeah.
but people that I've known for like 4 or 5 years, and there was one dude, his name is Eddie. He actually lived in Hawaii, and he and another gentleman named Rob, who lives in California, came to NFPA, and I mean they were blowing my phone up. They're like, "Please tell me you're still there." And it was the last day they showed up, and I got to meet these guys that I've talked to for like 4 and 5 years, and to me that's the best part, is that networking, meeting people that you just have never, you maybe talking to them online or through different social media. And it was awesome meeting those boys, and now we'll probably be lifelong brothers, going forward, because we just met that one time, and it was I love it.
Yeah, he
I
just
That
tell
is
people.
really cool.
he just texted me.
When we went to NFPA in Las Vegas, absolutely nobody knew who we were except for Chris
Except for Chris.
and Arco. That's it.
Yeah.
Arco and Chris.
That's not what I said. Yeah, so Chris, yeah, Chris said that's not what I said. Tell Matt Chris Logan rules. Then I said, what do you know about Chris Logan?
Have you,
you know,
hey, have
Gotcha.
you been
What's
on
up,
Chris's
Chris?
show?
not
Matt?
yet.
Okay, well, we're
He's
bringing
been
you
bombarding me for a
exclusive
while, but
content of
Exclusive.
Matt. Matt came on
No.
our show
I think
exclusively
Matt has
to
been
talk
on.
about Fire
Matt's been on
Sprinkler
Drew's show.
Bros.
Drew's show too.
tell Chris I had to roll to the USA first before Canada. So
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Which is understandable.
Turbo said up top. What did Turbo say? Matt is an inspiration. That motherfucker got me interested in the trade again. Turbo Rito?
Wow.
I don't know if you know who that is, but that's your buddy. That's your buddy, Matt.
I've I know my wife. She's over here watching TV, and she's always laughing because I didn't know because even when I talked to Drew Slocum, he's like, you're a personality on Facebook, and I'm like, I didn't know I was that, I mean, because honestly, I do it because I love the business, like you guys. I'm
Yeah.
passionate about it, and one of the biggest things I love about fire protection is seeing the people that I've helped and worked with when they were green, they were green helpers, and I've seen them now where they're like regional managers, that kind of stuff.
So
I love
cool.
it. And being in the Facebook groups, I love it because I get to interact with people that across the country, across different countries, that reach out to me and ask me for help. And my wife always pegs me. She goes, "Who's that calling you right now?" I said, "It's Eddie from Hawaii." And she's like, "Do you know him?" And I'm like, "Not. I met him once."
Sorta.
Kinda.
You know,
I feel like I know
but
him.
but some of the people have reached out to me. I probably get messages like almost once a day from Facebook from someone asking.
Yeah,
And
he
then the
said
thing,
that's what he said. He's friends with you on Facebook. He'll hit you up. He'll hit you up later.
and then the thing is that when I offer to help people, I tell them I'm not just here to talk about experience, but I said if you want to talk about, because I'm really big about trying to push people to the next level, whether it's a position, a certification. Because to me, the most satisfying thing that we can do as positive leaders in our business is to watch the next, youth come behind us and follow behind us and take up the mantle. And I tell them, most of the people that follow me religiously, I tell them, I said, look, I'm never job scared because I actually want one of you to come take my job, and I'll train you to take my job because I'm going to go for the next one, and I want you to come up here and be prepared to do it well. And some of the most satisfying things is even when I was a foreman, I helped a helper become his own foreman, and it was like 2 years we hadn't talked, and he just called me out of the blue, and he was thanking me. He said, I get it now what you were doing. He said you were hard on me sometimes. He said sometimes you were a straight asshole, but he said I get it now what you were doing. He said I'm making more money than I ever thought I could. I'm taking care of my family, and we both started crying, because it made me feel good to know that I could help someone achieve that, and so I try to be as positive. I tell people I'm positive, but you're going to have to give a little sarcasm, a little smart ass. You got to just take that too.
If they're talking to you, they like you.
That's right. So you were an apprentice and then you went into the field. And before ITM, do you have any stories from that time? You ever had a blowout or did something crazy?
Probably the best one I had is we used to do a lot of Target stores up in the Northern Virginia area. And it was the first time I installed ESFR heads, the big 1-inch. And it was a 2-story Target where the top level was like a storage and it had a big elevator. And my foreman was downstairs in the pump room because he was waiting for the fire marshal. And we had a weld leak upstairs. And he said, go up there. And a lot of guys didn't know how to do this, take a hammer and chisel and tap the weld over and try to get over.
That's how I've always done it.
I was up on the lift. It was pressurized to 220 psi. We're waiting for the fire marshal. And I still don't know to this day what happened, if it was the chisel that hit the head or it was the vibrations, because I was hammering on it hard. And at the time, I also had glasses. That head went off with 220 off of it and blew me onto the lift. Luckily, I was on a lift. If I was on a ladder, I probably would have hurt myself further.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The best part was I didn't know it, but my foreman, when I was wailing on it, he was radioing me on the next call saying the fire marshal was downstairs, stop hitting it. I didn't hear him. So when that head went, they're in the room getting all the readings off the gauges. All of a sudden, the gauges just went like that.
No.
And because I was hammering the weld near that elevator, all they saw was this big rush of water come down the elevator.
Oh, man.
And then, of course, what happens. Here's my happy fat ass coming down the steps, all sopping wet.
Not happy.
And Of course, even the fire marshal started laughing. He goes, "Look, you failed, but that's hilarious."
The so how many leaks had you fixed like that before? How many times
Um,
had you done that prior and it worked?
a lot because
That's
I
a
used to ask my foreman because he was old school. He used to carry number 2 pencils in his pocket all the time when we would do hydros, and people used to say, "Why is your guy always carrying these number 2 pencils?" I was like, "You jam that lead into that weld, and a lot of times it'll stop it." People didn't understand that kind of stuff.
I was always a sharp chisel and a hammer guy, and I would just peen it over like probably hundreds like that.
Oh yeah,
I think back of it now, like, and you talk about that with the head going off. Oh man, scary. Woo!
yeah,
Young and dumb. All right, so a lot of people are getting like bonuses for getting there. Justin says the company will pay for the first test and they'll give you $1,000 for every test that you pass. Donnie says that he gets more vacation and overscale pay just to hold a nice set. Definitely
Yep.
want to do some conferences next year. Get in there, Donnie. Yo,
yeah.
Corlin, what's going on, Corlin? And if you guys
All
see
these
us, say hi. Let's like want to take pictures with you guys. Don't put leaks on the drawings. No, no, I haven't seen that yet. You should put some though. You should do that as a joke. Put aim somewhere and be like, put a leak right here. I've seen the
yeah, all these
majority of companies
companies.
and AZs, they push for NICET, they pay for it plus a raise. The problem is that the majority of employees are old dogs that don't care for the new tricks. These young kids don't want to stick around because the work is demanding. Dang, you guys are blasting this up. Yo, Paul, what up? Matt is an OG. I remember him from back up in Maryland days when he was working for Red Hawk. That's Donnie, the sprinkler nerd. Florencio
Oh
says, hit
wow.
hit the like
We know
button,
him.
yo. We're one away from 10 likes here, and we're 7 away from 600 subscribers. So you guys, you know what to do. ESFR
Yeah,
systems, that was my stuff. I used a welder slag hammer for my weld leaks. A welder slag hammer. Okay. I would get a chisel and I would file it sharp every time. Bobby's eating this his laugh makes me laugh. Was I laughing? Shit. Hold the laughing, kid. If water don't scare you, you're not a real sprinkler man. I
That's
love the
right.
panic. I was supposed to go measure some stuff for Thursday, but it really wasn't like pressing. I was just gonna do it by the end of the day, and then all of a sudden I got a call from my partner. He's like, "They got a sprinkler leak over there. Go now!" And I was like 2 blocks away, so I just ran. I grabbed like a couple things, my Super 14, a head wrench, and the bucket, and I was just like running down the road. And when I got there, all the water was coming out of the all out of where the sprinkler heads were in the soffit. But I seen the heat guys running around, kind of mischievously, and
Mm,
they were testing a heat line that was abandoning this soffit.
wow. All right. So Matt, so you went from inspection from the field, um, going just like getting trained old school, and then you went into an ITM. And what was kind of y'all's bread and butter at the company that you were in?
we were a little bit of everything. Because in Northern Virginia, we actually would have fire marshals that would come with us on our annual inspections in Fairfax County and Arlington and Alexandria, which was actually really great having a fire marshal sitting there because they would send 2 fire marshals, one to go with you out to do the testing, and one would be at the annunciator to make sure everything was verified and everything. So my first foray into inspections with these fire marshals, so you had to do everything the right way. You couldn't finger trip the tamper switch. You couldn't use magnets and that kind of stuff. So I really enjoyed that. And then really, a lot of the companies that I worked for, it was actually thankful because they got us into working into fire alarm, because
Right.
I sprinkler, and I asked them, I said, can I learn fire alarm? And they said, yeah, it's pretty easy. You got some keys, you got some canned smoke and some air, go do it. And I was one of those people. I said, I was always wanting the next challenge. So give me as much as you can throw at me. Special hazards. I wanted to learn everything because I knew, if I could separate myself from the ones, everybody wants to be the best, and I wanted to be the best sprinkler person, fire tech person that could help out people because I figured the more I could learn and know, the more I could help my customers. I could help train other people to go and do it. So I tried to learn everything. I learned extinguishers. I kind of told myself I got backflow certified. Where I drew the line was I said I just can't do kitchen hoods. I said
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
said
Me and you both, man. No, I don't want any part of that. Those guys are hardcore. I mean,
Yeah, so I said, I mean, you throw anything at me, I don't care what it is, I'll do it all. And I tried to do that just so I can also help more people learn how great our business is and how you can just make really good money, just by, doing good work, being productive, helping those around you, being a team player, and also just helping your boss out make some money and helping them out.
Dude, the chat is wild. You guys are awesome. Darian and Chandler are our Twitch users. They recognized us in Vegas. That was cool. That was so
Oh
cool when
yeah,
you just
they
turn
came
turn
up.
around and you guys are just right there.
Boom.
Turbo set mentioning the salt and the wet rag. You ever try that, Bry?
I've heard of it. I've never.
That's a good trick that bailed me out a few times. Pops taught me that one. If you're in a pinch, and I taught it to little Bobby, and then I think little Bobby, however it happened, I think I like went on vacation and little Bobby did it on my job, and I had like found it later. Salt
Well, even
rag on
back
my
in
on
the day,
my.
people would do salt and piss rags. I remember we did an old public store and they took out the ceiling. And I was looking at my foreman. I said, "What is all those rags up there on the piping?" And whoever did it, it was like a bunch of them. And we got up there and you could smell it, and it was like they pissed on it too. It was like I was like, "Come on, man! You got to do that kind of stuff." Like
My dad used to
Oh
tell me horror
man.
stories about that, where they would like pee on the bundles of pipe, fresh bundles of pipe. They'd pee on them to start. Then you'd have to, and then I'm like, and then you work with them? Those are the old timers.
I will tell you a good old time joke that we used to do because being
You don't want.
sprinkler, we used to play pranks and do all kinds of
Oh
weird.
yes.
And I had one of those foremen. He hated coming into a job because we did usually new install stuff. You don't mess with his hangers. If you come and talk to him, here's our center line. Work with us, and we'll work with you, whatever trade you are. He hated coming in and seeing our pipe bowing down, and someone just took his hangers off. And this one job we did, the plumbers kept doing it, and he said, "Okay, okay." So he comes to me and says, "Bass, tomorrow we would normally work at 5:30." He said, "Tomorrow you come in at 4:30," and I was like, "Come on, Richard." And he said, "Just be here by 4:30." So we got in there, and the plumbers had their oiler, and we took turns, but we pissed in their oiler. Just he went. He said, "I'm done. You pee in it." And the best part was is that during the day he said, "Just watch over there." And when you get that piss in the oil in there, and the poor kid was over there, is heating up the threads.
Heating up. That
He's
is
doing one of
awesome.
these things, and
Oh, that's a great prank. I love that
oh,
one. You don't laugh, you giggle. I guess so. The salt and the wet rag
That is
absolutely does
true. You
work.
do. You're a giggler,
You can
like
push
a
me
little
into
child.
retirement. I do. Sometimes I laugh at my own jokes too. That's when I know how they're funny.
oh yeah.
Matt, only jurisdictions in VA still witnessing is a city of Alexandria now in northern
Yep.
Hey
VA.
Matt, that cup you're drinking out of it looks like one of those cups that the nurse gives you at a hospital.
It is because my wife, because when my wife had 3 kids, and
Oh,
these cups are huge, but they're great, to keep.
so you just keep it and just like it's
34
like a
stories in
teacup,
Arlington,
like
Virginia.
we're talking about me so much.
I was part of the Nestle high rise, 34 stories in Arlington, Virginia. Worked for FLSA, then take you 2 hours to get to the hotel. Ooh,
Man,
Justin, the inspector
I
that
worked
building.
for FLSA for a while. I want to say
To
maybe
hell with
three,
kitchen
four
hoods.
years.
I
They'll
did too. I worked for
they'll
FLS.
dope under their truck's door
I
I
was in
was
handle.
in Atlanta.
I was in the Baltimore office.
Oh, okay, well that's a little further than my Atlanta office.
Little Bobby and I were piping a bunch of heads on one job, and I would try to throw the plug, the 1 inch plug I would take out. I'd always try to throw it in his bag, and at the end of the week, I ended up having like he had like 50 plugs in his bag, and he's just every day he's just picking this fucker up and he's lugging it to the truck, and it's just got all that extra weight in it. And I'm like, damn man, that thing looks heavy. He's like, yeah, I gotta clean this thing out, and he's just pulling out all these plugs. That's so great.
that,
I
that was
love
that was
that.
some of the best parts of doing sprinkler was messing with each other. Some people just don't understand that, but that was some of the best parts.
Mhm.
I did that to my foreman because we were working on a job. It was like it was a 5-story building. The elevators weren't in, and I kicked his bucket over, and he didn't know it. But I put our chain for the power machine in the bottom of his bucket. I put all those tools back on top. And by the time he got to the 5th floor, he was like, What the f is this bucket?" So
Oh yeah, what is in this bucket? Yeah, that's
And
great.
when he kicked it over and saw that chain, and he knew I did, he took his channel locks and threw him at me. I was like, "Sorry, Richard."
Don't tell Eric, but my prank is turning the copper relief line on the pressure switches out towards where the next inspector will be standing. That's that is awesome. I like that one. You guys should all collectively do that. Every inspector. Aim the relief at the next inspector. I did some crazy stuff back when I was younger. Fitters know me as being crazy from back in my day. I've helped in Baltimore too. Worked for Charlotte office. I just drove through all these places, baby. Let's go. We were road tripping. I know there's people on Facebook, even though that number says 0. It's lying. Yeah, so that was a good little flood that you had caused.
So with inspections, were y'all doing like apartments or were y'all doing factories or what kind of stuff were y'all
Well,
getting into?
actually, the best move I ever did is I moved away from the DC area and I moved to North Carolina. And down here is
Smart
real.
move, baby, going to the south.
It is. And honestly, I did it because of the housing. I mean, the housing around the DC area was so crazy. And my friend moved down here, and he said, "Look, just look at the homes." He said, "I'm just telling you, move to the south, get away from these big cities, and you'll love it." And it actually helped my career because in North Carolina, the we didn't do a lot of like condos, the easy stuff. Because in DC, we did nothing but condos, apartments, real crappy ones sometimes too. It was all typical stuff, easy, dry systems for canopies, like loading docks. But in North Carolina, we had a lot of textile and country, pumps that are feeding out of reservoirs and and ponds and stuff. Just crazy setups. Big warehouses. Saw old systems, new systems. And that's really where I cut my teeth on a lot of ITM is moving down south and working with these great people down here and learning all these systems. And I would tell people if you can move away from the city and get away from just condos and apartments and get out there in the country where you're out like in a steel mill, it's just it's the different people. They're blue collar workers. And I used to love it too because most of the big factories they work 24/7. So when I could schedule my own work, I would show up at 3 o'clock in the morning. They always have people there. You could do all your stuff and get home early too. So um,
Yo,
definitely
we
love
got.
the IT.
Sorry to interrupt you, but we got 600 subscribers.
Nice.
We just hit it. That's crazy. It's been a long time coming. Thank you guys for subscribing. We appreciate you and liking it and all that.
I do not sell any
DC Traffic
apartments.
Commissioner.
Like even if I get a call, I mean, I've been in Atlanta for my whole life. So
What's
even if I
wrong?
get
What's
a
wrong with
call,
them?
oh, they're a nightmare. And they usually go for the lowest bid. And I'm not gonna keep on playing, lowest bid when I get the best customer service.
Hmm.
Yeah.
As in on a Saturday at 2 a.m., you call me and I answer kind of stuff. Like I'm not gonna be the cheapest and then expect me to do all that. This doesn't make
I'm
sense.
I'm with you, Brian, because whenever I used to do some sales too, and if I walked in, because I always did a walkthrough. I never did it over the phone. I didn't want to do that stuff.
You're right,
I
Flo.
went I wanted to go meet them in person, shake their hand,
I
but
do the same thing.
I also
Knock on
wanted to see the
doors.
riser room. And as soon as I went to the riser room, if I saw a Christmas tree of tags on there, and every year was a new contractor, I'd say, "See ya." Because I mean, like you said, my number's not going to be the lowest, but I'm not going to bid this thing every year. It's going to be a pain in the butt. If you can give me a 3 year, 5 year, and like a hospital or something like that, but apartments, it wasn't worth it to have that headache. And plus, they never wanted to fix anything.
No,
And
no.
it really just wasn't worth it.
I also do free consulting, and then I talk to the fire marshals on the customer's behalf if they call and it's scheduled. And then me doing that for apartment complexes that never fix anything, it's just that's where I'll be spending my time and not actually doing my job. So it's not worth it at all.
Hmm. That's something I don't know. That's good to know. I like that.
Yeah, so there's plenty of low bid, cheap places here in Atlanta that does work, and you can if you're listening, you manage a apartment complex, call them up.
Heck,
That's it.
Feelings.
I remember even some jobs in DC. There's a part called Southeast DC, and most of the people around DC know it. That it was so bad that I would leave my helper in the truck with the truck running. I said, I'm going to run in, do the flow and tamper, and you're not leaving that truck. It's like keep it running. you know?
Man, when you were in Atlanta, you were in DeKalb County.
Yeah,
How's that life, huh?
well, I used to tell people, I said I do feel safe because I lived in Decatur, right off of 285, right by the prison right there. And I said, I feel safe because I always see the cops going everywhere, but the only problem is they always have the lights on. They're going somewhere.
So I had a day of from hell
Oh
in
shit.
DeKalb County, and when I was working at FLSA, and after that day, I called them and I said, never send me over there ever again, ever. So I don't know if I've told this story, maybe not in here. I don't know. This is something I would normally not talk about, but I
Ooh.
started. I got there, DeKalb County, 8 a.m. Got gas on a corner gas station. There was a guy convulsing. I think that's the word. From I guess meth. So I called 911. Ambulance got there. He's still like foaming and doing his thing on the ground. And the ambulance gave him Narcan, got him back to life. And then they were like, "Who called it in?" I was like, "I did. I called him." And he was like, "Why? No one's gonna pay for this." Like, you just like wasted our time. I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like this guy could have died."
Buddy was about to die.
So that was
They're
crazy. So
saying
I,
that fast
I
food
left
sucks.
there. I left there, went to this apartment complex. The what was it? The property management and then the maintenance director told me, "Hey, whatever you do, you just have to leave by 3." I was like, "Oh, okay." Um, so all I was doing there was doing external flows and tampers. I got there. There's a guy crying because his Challenger wheels got took, and it's on a cinder block. So he's out there screaming in the parking lot and crying. And at lunch, I went to just get something quick at a gas station, and across the street was a small apartment complex. It was brick. I mean, it was small. It was very close together from the gas station to the apartment complex. And people started running out, and then there was two guys with guns started shooting them. I mean, it was just they were
Nice place to
blasting away.
live. Nice place to grow up.
And then, well, here's
They
it.
should raise
Check
a
this
family
out.
there.
The pumps. So the pumps were the gas station where I was at was full of people, and they were acting like it was normal. Like, oh, he's getting them, blah 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 blah. Like, not even freaking out. Like, this guy's shooting people.
Matt's in North Carolina.
So I left.
Turbo
I
says
left that
Turbo
day.
says fast food sucks, and then Florencio. Oh no, then Donnie says retail is the worst. What's up
Yeah,
with
when
retail?
hey Brian, when I was down there, there were some jobs I did for some warehouses in DeKalb. It was so bad. I remember I did one warehouse and it had a freestanding FDC, and I knew where it was at. And I went over there and I'm looking for it. They actually had unscrewed the head for the FDC and took it because there was brass,
Russ.
and all it was the 4 inch with the thread just sticking up. And I mean that's the area I was in.
Oh man, that's terrible. I actually walked in. So this place is
Muted.
bad. It actually ended up getting shut down by the city of Atlanta 2-3 months after I was there. I pull in, and right next to me I pull in next to a homicide detective. So I didn't know this at the time. He just had an unmarked car, got out, obviously the
This is
detective. We
normal.
walk in, yeah, we walked into the leasing office, and residents are yelling at the staff, and the staff are brand new, like been there today, like brand new, and yelling back and forth. And she's like, "The government's gonna send me the check. I'm just waiting for my check. I'm gonna pay my rent. Y'all just give me some time." Blah blah. And they were just going after it. And then the detective said, "Hey." It announced his presence. He's like, "I'm here." Well, evidently, someone tried to steal drugs from a guy at one of the buildings, and then he got an AK and just put holes everywhere. So there was a homicide in that complex. And I'm just supposed to be there testing hydrants, and I start testing some hydrants, and everybody's outside. No one's anywhere. No one's at work. They're just hanging out, and it's super creepy. I mean, I was packing, and a couple of them failed, and then I get to this corner one, and then one of the leasing ladies who's like started that day, she came by. She said, "Hey, I need you to put the things in the car, and I'll drive you to the next one." I was like, "Well, I've been walking to all of them." He said, "Well, you can't walk past this building. We need to drive you past this building." And then at that point, I was like, "I'm just going home.
You were
Just screw
failing the
this."
guy with the AK. Sheesh.
Yeah.
Malls and shopping centers do not want to fix anything unless they're forced.
That's true.
Huh. Really? So they're just waiting for it to blow out?
So the places that really fix their stuff
Our
is, like you
hospitals.
said, hospitals with that are FM Global for sure, and then assisted living and off-campus student housing typically.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everything's FM Global where I am in all these hospitals, and usually all covered by like Code Red. Code Red's like a third party that's always in there.
I never heard of Code Red. That's interesting.
Mm.
So it's another entrance, or is it an entity outside of
It's like a
FM
third.
Global?
It's like a third party, like fire safety entity, and they
Wow.
review the 241 plan and all the fire alarm permits and some kind of all health safety stuff. There's all kinds of stuff that they're doing in there.
So Matt, have you heard of 241 plan, or have y'all seen it in use, or heard of it in use? I'm
mm-mm.
not sure in your role.
No,
It's not really even a new thing. I mean, but it's super important and it's not being implemented not in not very many places. I've only really heard about it with you in Boston, right? I mean,
Anywhere, yeah, it's crazy.
so it's basically it's a standpipe that's not a permanent standpipe. It's just while construction's going on.
In some
Is that correct?
in some instances, if the building's over 40 feet, you got to put a temporary standpipe to the street with a gauge that shows that it's got pressure in it and a quick acting drain, and have a fire department hose valve with signage on every floor. But like in the hospitals, what I'm doing is we have to put all the heads upright. So right now, one of these jobs, I got to go pipe like 50 heads. I can't pipe the heads until fire alarm's ready, because the day that I pipe the heads, the ceiling guy's gonna have a crew follow me and wipe the ceiling out. Like that's part of the 241 plan. Right now, it's upright. Every room is protected with an upright head, and it just has grid below it. And so when I come and pipe heads those days, that whole room has to get whited out, and the smoke detectors have to go in, and the smoke detectors are up on the deck. So right now there's a big hold on the fire alarm's permit. So I can't pipe my heads until he's ready, and that's like a 241 thing. And then
Hmm.
also because when I go to pipe heads, that's a dust making activity. So when I'm spinning the heads upright, they take the smoke detectors out, and if the smoke detectors are out and the fire sprinklers are down, I need a Boston Fire Department fire watch.
But you're having to do that a lot.
So now anytime I go to this particular hospital, I just order fire watch, because they have to take the if I'm in there, they're taking the smokes out, and if I'm there, I'm taking the sprinklers out. So it's a wham wham, and they want a fireman there on a detail, just because I'm draining the system on that floor. It's crazy. It stirs up a lot of work, but it's there's not really many places to look for guidance. No one else is doing it.
So Matt, so you got from ITM, and then talk us through how you found out about your next step and how you went to go do it. So inspection and testing maintenance, and then what was that next move for you, and how did you find out about it?
I mean, the next move I did for like the last 15 years has
Thanks,
actually been
Nick.
management. I was an inspections manager, did that for a while, did a service manager, got into operations, and I really liked being a manager, not because I wanted to, worry about the profits and losses and that kind of stuff and worry about P&Ls and margins. I really liked it because of the fact that I got to work with so many great people and I got to try to help them. I got to hire people, see them as a green helper, push them to get their experience and NICET. And that's the reason I loved management, was not the worrying about profits and budgets and that kind of stuff, but the fact I could work with people and actually have the time to help them and get them to move up, and so management to me was always is wonderful. I mean, I didn't like always having to worry about my if I was hitting my numbers. I was more worried about could I get my technicians certified, because I used to tell them, I said, look, it's going to be very rare, but I'm one of the few managers you actually will find that says I want to pay you more money. I said, the more valuable you are to me, the more marketable you are to me, the more I'm going to pay you. And it's going to, if you just listen to me, sometimes, yes, we're going to butt heads. Sometimes we're going to probably want to punch each other. But in the end, I'm really want to help you. And, so many of the people that follow me, and like, we're brothers now. It's just because of the fact that, I helped them from when they were, a green helper, and now some of these people are operations managers themselves, inspections managers. One of them is a regional manager. And actually, one of my buddies, Pat, is actually coming tomorrow. He's coming through on his way to Florida to stop by and see me. Because also being in management, I love the fact that I try to show people that you can still, be a manager, but you can have a heart and take care of people. And
Absolutely.
Pat was one of these guys. He did everything I would ask him to do. Was the go getter. He did everything I needed to. Pat was one of my guys I go for. And way back when I was with FLSA, he called me and said, "Hey, my mom is passing. She's on her deathbed, and he had just used all his vacation. He's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. He said, I want to be with my mom, but I'm not going to get a paycheck." I said, "Pat, don't worry about it. We're family. We'll take care of you." So the first thing I did is I got all my guys and I said, "Look, we need to do what we can." I said, HR is going to hate me, but I said, I need you guys to shave some jobs. I need you guys to do some 8-hour jobs in like 6 hours or 4 hours. And I would try to give him hours where I could. So he had to pay. I said, "You won't worry about a paycheck, Pat. Go be with your mom. Do what you can, And he got to be with her on her deathbed. And
Wow.
and like 2 months later, we had a company Christmas party, and his wife came and like sought me out and was like, we were both crying because she's like, "Are you Matt, the Matt that helped Pat, to be with his mom?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
Dude, you're giving me goosebumps, man. That is insane.
Yeah, that
That's the
is
kind of
cool.
stuff we need. 1000%.
And me and Pat, we'll be lifelong, because of that, because I try to show him that you can still be in our business, but you can have a heart. And knowing the fact that he got to be with his mom as she passed, and he still got a paycheck. All my guys came. We were a team. We understood what I was asking them. They did all the work. But I was able to give him his hours. He got his, a paycheck, and it means a lot. To show someone that you actually care about them. Beyond their fire protection. And so that's why I got into management, and that's why I love doing what I do with like the Facebook groups is when these people just come to me and say, "You don't know me, but thank you," it means the world, and I wish we have more stronger managers, people in like, lead roles, whether, because I always tell people you don't have to be a manager to be a leader. You can be a leader just because, you have the ability to help someone else and train someone and show them, that we can be positive people. Like I always say, I'm positive you are going to get some sarcasm and some jokes and some smartass, but most of the people come to me like years later and go, "Thank you. I get what you were doing to me." Sometimes I'm hard on people because I'm trying to push them like I was pushed. And I'm just trying to show them that in a couple of years, you're going to call me and just say thank you. And I always tell them, I said, all I want in return is just a business card to show people that you can do our business. You don't have to be a true asshole. You can help people. And I just want to show that these people now are regional managers, operation managers, they're running their own teams. Some of them started their own companies, and they say thank you for the things I helped them do. And so that's the one reason I got into management is to love that piece of it.
Some people just need a little bit of guidance or a mentor that they never got, you know. Now
Yeah.
they can
And
find it
it's,
on social media.
believe it or not, it's very rare in fire protection.
It
Yeah.
You
is.
know,
It's
it
fortunate.
tends to be actually, I would say, and y'all tell me if you think it's different, but I think it comes down to the issue, if it is an issue, of trades and egos.
Yes. Pride
Pride.
gets too many people's way. And like I said, that's why I used to tell my people, I said, "Look, I'm going to train as many of you to get to the highest positions you want." But I was always honest. I said, "Look, I'm not going to have 5 supervisor roles for all of you. So if there's 6 of you that want to be supervisors, I'm actually going to train you to the level that you may actually have to go somewhere else to get that role you need. But you know what? I'm not going to stop. I'm not scared because of that, because I want you to know that I'm not going to stop for my own self because I only have 2 roles to fill. And I'm not going to help you because I only have 2 roles. I'm going to help you even to the point where if you have to leave me and you're going to my competition, I'm still happy about that. That makes me feel good to know that I was able to get you into a role that now you maybe are making more money, and again, that's why I think I have a good following of people, is just because I was not, I was able to swallow my pride and say, "Look, we're a team and we're going to help each other." And those people are the reason why now I think I have the people I do know and that we call each other brothers and sisters, is because they knew that we had each other's back. It was a two-way thing, and I would help them no matter what. And I just wish more managers would take that and use that to help
I would
people
always
around.
use that towards my apprentices as well. Like when they go off to the next guy, you want them to be great.
Yeah.
We want to train everybody to be great. Where's your biggest following right now, Matt?
On Facebook, there's a NFPA 25 Inspector Swarm group, and people think I actually started the group, and I'm not even one of the admins with the group. I just post. I've been posting shit for the last 5 years,
Uh,
but people think I own it or I started it, and I'm like, no, it was some other people started it. I just found it a couple years ago. But like I said, I probably get messages once a day for someone asking for help on something. And I've even told people I said, I'll help you on your resumes, on interviews, everything. I've had people send me their nice set and say, hey, could you look at this? And sometimes I do feel bad because I always ask them, like, hey, did you go to your manager first? And a lot of them tell me, no, I'd rather come talk to you. And it makes me feel good to know that I'm that resource, a total stranger, a sarcastic, fat ass over in North Carolina. You know, and even sometimes because they know I do like to roast people once in a while, some people actually will message me and say, hey, before I post this and you roast the shit out of me, can you take a look at my question and make sure it looks. And I'm like, yep, let it fly.
That's awesome. I love that so
Because
much.
that is the thing. So let's cover that. Because, by the way, we're gonna have to definitely have you back on, but we didn't even like touch into the other things that we wanted to talk about. So, I'm be excited for that episode too. But let's talk about the dynamic in Facebook
Oh
of
yeah.
just it's almost like no one can say anything without getting destroyed.
Well, and I'm probably one of those people because I mean, there's some people that will tell you that they love me, and there's some people that tell you that they hate me because sometimes sarcasm on a computer behind a screen it
Oh, for
doesn't.
sure.
And I always tell people if you actually saw me as I was typing it, I'm probably laughing. I mean, like I'm like Bobby, I'm always laughing at everything. My wife thinks I'm
Me
mentally
too.
retarded sometimes,
Yeah.
'cause I'm always laughing at everything, but I mean, but some of it is also because I'm afraid of our industry and what's lacking out there. And so part of the sarcasm is not directed at the person, but people will ask like, how do I get started with NICET? And I'm like, no one that you work with told you to go to the website first to learn about NICET and to know what's there and to help you, And so it may come off as sarcasm, but I'm actually worried that these people are coming to a Facebook group and they can't reach out to a manager or a mentor or a lead, and that
Or Google. Google.
or yeah,
I
well yeah,
mean,
and that's
Google. A lot of times, like I can't tell you how many times people have asked me something, and I gotta just go Google it myself to answer them. I'm like, all right,
There
I guess
yeah.
I'll
you
Google it.
go.
I'll
All these
Google it
young
for
people
you.
like us, all of us had milk crates in our trucks and our vans of all the the cut sheets of everything we installed. That's how we learned everything,
That's it.
Now, but with the Facebook groups, I said, we try to be helpful, and some people laugh when I say the Facebook because they're like, oh, it's Facebook. And I'm like, in the 25 group that I'm in, Bob Caputo's in there, Tracy Bellamy is in there, Tom Parrish is in there, Ralph Bless is in there. These industry icons that wrote a lot of the codes and standards that we do are in there, and they also chime in and talk. I remember one dude, it was like last year, he posted a question about like, do you do main drains with a pump on or off? And everybody was chalking in, and I was putting.
Oh man.
And oh my God, I said, dude, you have to go play the lottery because he had Bob Caputo, Tracy Bellamy, and I think it was Tom Parrish all chiming on the comment. I said, you got three of the kings there of
Hmm.
fire. And I said, you need to go play the lottery, and these are people that built our industry and are chiming in on comments on Facebook. I don't know where you can find people at that level. Like Bob Caputo is the president of AFSA, and he's sometimes he doesn't
Dude,
like my.
he's awesome. We
Well,
met
we
him.
can't just
He's
we can't just leave the
freaking
cliffhanger
awesome.
right there, boys. We need to know. Are you gonna do it with the fire pump on or off?
Off.
Off.
Whoa.
Oh no! The pump is on. The pump is always.
Okay.
Well,
Okay. All right,
Well,
we can be friends
sorry.
again.
he said, well, Bob Caputo is the GOAT. Bob Caputo is the GOAT. And we need our pay match other trades and their
Here's the
benefits.
thing. Here's the thing with the pump thing. I think it comes down to this. Like really, if it is on, you have to have someone there to supervise the fire pump. And I think the biggest thing is that companies are sending guys out there by themselves, and there's no one to run the pump. But the issue with that, as far as like an ITM standpoint, you have to run the pump in order to get consistent numbers on what it would be like during the actual fire. If you're running without the pump, you're doing inconsistent numbers. Let's say you're in Boston when you're, you know, like
Boston.
7 a.m. Pressure is very different than
Boston.
3 p.m.
Very
Right?
different. Oh yeah, I mean
Exactly.
even 7 we go at 4 a.m. before that.
Yeah. So
7 a.m. people are showering at 7. There's a lot of people that are up at and showering at 7 and stealing the Quabbin Reservoir pressure that we got.
so 1,000% on if you can't. You have to have it supervised. Don't
Run
run
that
that
son
pump.
bitch. Rooster,
I always tell
whatever.
people
Pump
it needs
on.
to be. I always tell people, remember, we're not supposed to be here. It's supposed to come on automatically and do what it was designed to do. Was it designed to be turned off? Is there someone comes in and turns the pump off? No, the pump should be on. And that's why even people who do like flows and tampers, they're like, well, I'll kick the pump off. I'm like, for what? The pump. If a head goes off, what's on? The fire pump. So why would you turn it off the fire pump? Or there's those are those good debates. And that's why some of the groups are good, like I said, because sometimes I'll post a few just because I know that it'll stir the pot, and get people riled
All
up.
right,
But
all right. Dope and tape is gonna be in there.
Where?
Dope and tape Facebook page. Where I'm get in there.
Hold on, let me do it right now. What is it called?
it's called the NFPA 25 Inspectors Forum.
Do you
There's
have
probably
do you have oh yeah. Do you have like access where you can let me in?
no, like I said, I'm not an admin. You can just get in,
Yeah, who's the
from
admin? I'm gonna when my powers that be, I want you to be the admin. All right, there's two of them. One of them's got 7,000 members. I'm assuming it's that one.
Yeah, to me, the
NFPA
groups are great because not only are the Facebook groups,
join.
content
Oh.
where you can help each other, but there's also like the people will post all the pictures of things they find, deficiencies and whatnot. And there's also a file section. So, a lot of us will upload files for like, people will ask about, recalled, GB heads from the central, and we'll upload all those files so that, there's more than just people roasting each other. It's actually, I think most of them are pretty helpful. And I'm actually, I think, the top contributor in the 25 group because I talk too much.
Do you currently work in the fire protection industry? Oh
Yeah,
yeah. Group rules. Yeah, we agree to the rules. We'll play nice. Bam. All right, I sent it.
For now.
Talk to your cronies. Tell them we want in. Can I share?
yeah.
Can I share my lives to there? Or are they gonna get all crazy?
I was posting there earlier.
Wow. Oh, they're proving that shit quick, boy. We're in. Come on.
I was posting there earlier, telling
It's a
people to come on
group.
the show.
It's a group by Natalie.
Awesome.
Yeah, Natalie, she's one. Again, I've talked to her, for years, and I told her, because her and she's like a sarcastic person. So I said, come on and roast me if you want, because I'm usually making some smart comment on
Oh,
there.
first person I see is you. Oh, you make little head videos
21.
too.
And I want to do a video about
Yeah,
our
she
group
got
because
she
I'm a
laughed one
member of
time
the
because she
NFPA
said, "Oh
25
shit, he found the video record button." I was like, "Yeah, here comes the videos, Natalie."
Oh yeah, you got your face in the bottom. I'm gonna watch some of these. All right, that's awesome. That's already been an hour. So everybody, you guys know we took a couple days off. I was on vacation. Then there was not good Wi-Fi, and then ended up driving home from Orlando. But here we're back. We're back on schedule. We're gonna be booking people. If you reached out and you were gonna be coming on the show, please reach out again because
Yeah, because we get busy and we talk to so many people.
maybe we
So
didn't
please
write it
help us.
down. And if like maybe we ghosted you or something, don't take it personal. Just hit me with a DM, hit Brian with a DM, hit us on LinkedIn, say, hey, did you forget about me, you pricks? And then we'll get you on,
Yeah,
sometime in
please get
October and
back.
November.
Is we get contacted a lot.
Oh
I
yeah, I'm
mean,
doing 100 DMs a day
yeah, I mean, we're
on
we're
Instagram,
there's
easy.
a there's about an hour that I'm sitting down at night and just like going through 'em.
Just Instagram is probably 100 a day.
And
But
I'm answering in LinkedIn and that Facebook and then Instagram, and it's work. So if we forget about you, it's not because we don't want you on the show. We don't want to hear your story. It's just, it's hard to keep up.
It is. Most of us have day jobs, so
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I know.
also got my day job. We're relocating some heads.
By the way, just in case anybody was wondering, this is right here what we're doing twice a week for almost a year. And then in the beginning of the year, we did 3 times a week, is all free. Okay. This is
Yeah,
what $0 an
and
hour.
it's been
Well, I would say we're
this is
we're a
what
good bit in the negative at
this
this
is
point. I
yeah.
mean,
This is what
yeah,
like -$1 an hour looks like.
yeah. We're paying money to do this. So
And I love it. I'll still do it. I love doing it. But if you do want to sponsor an episode, we got a 30-second ad spot available for you, and we could talk about that. You can also send us a DM. And if you, Brian's gonna point up right now, and that's our website up at the top. If you wanted to get some merch like this hat or a shirt or anything, and if there's something on there that you don't see that you want us to add, just let me know and I'll add it.
Join the
And
movement.
there's almost 20 likes, so you guys could hit that. That'd be pretty cool to get 20 likes. 602 subscribers. You guys came through with almost 603 subscribers. We just got
Wow.
10 subscribers this episode,
Thank you
and
guys. That's incredible.
that has to be
Hey,
like
we need to
has to
add a
be Matt's
hoodie. It's
people.
getting close. I mean, it's getting cold outside. We need to add a hoodie.
What are you talking about, son?
What? You already have them up there? Look at
What are you
that.
talking about? This is like last year's model. There's hoodies on
How's the
there.
quality?
It's good. I love this. It's the same one that you got from that Sarah threw away from Mass
Yeah, yeah. All
Construction.
right, listen, let's talk about that. It's not because I did not like the hoodie, all right, from Mass Construction.
Sarah,
I love the hoodie. It was my favorite hoodie. Just one day I'm
Sarah
not
threw
the smallest guy in the
Sarah
world.
threw it away, right? Mass
I
Construction.
know
So
I
it's
look
it's the
tiny on
same
video,
hoodie,
but
just says dope and tape.
I'm not the smallest guy in the world. So I needed some. It was tighter on my neck, and I just kind of wanted like a little room, but then it went like down to here, and then yeah, my wife didn't like that. So at
Yeah,
first she hid it, I found it, and then I started wearing it, and then I
she
wore it
definitely
out,
doesn't like when you wearing
and
her
she threw it
jeans
away.
either. You got to give her jeans back.
They only make one cut of those jeans.
What do you mean? Like you can only get them in size 27, 27?
No, I mean I get them the size to my waist.
What do you mean?
Like they are on my
Go.
waist and
You got to go
they're
up
comfortable.
one. You just got to go up one.
You think that's what it needs to be?
Yes, for sure.
So the problem is I got a giant muscular ass, and I have to have the two loops on the back. Because if I only have one loop, that belt is like riding up like a fucking G
Those
string, bro.
pockets aren't even. Those don't even count as pockets. They're so tight. $0 an hour. It's definitely negative, nerd. Yep.
Yeah, we're for sure in the negatives. I mean, I think I spent 600 and something dollars alone down in Orlando.
Oh yeah.
No, it's probably a little bit more than I probably did.
Be
Probably
cranking it. You gotta get
probably
some
a
ads. Who
grand.
wants to put an ad? Put anybody. Anybody can buy an ad. Put any kind of what it doesn't really matter what it could be. It'd be pretty cool if it was sprinklers, but all right, let's get out of here. Now we're just rambling. Thank you guys for watching us. We appreciate you. Thank you for that last like. I really